Alright, I'm going to do a little background of my HTI, Desert Tech HTI rifle that's been failing to fire brand new out of the box. Desert Tech first responded to the issue on 4/19 of 21. It's January 31st of 2022 now. I have their new bolt assembly that they shipped to me to replace the one that, while in their possession for just shy of 5 months, they somehow managed to gouge the bolt lugs on 2 of the lugs. Not sure how they managed to do this, but at that point I am not going to put that in my rifle. That seems pretty ridiculous. Back to the replacement though. As we can see, it doesn't sit in the bolt body flat. It kind of cocks to one side here. And the firing pin is, again, stuck. You can't just get that popped out of there, so we can disassemble this. So yesterday, January 30th, on a Sunday, I went out to attempt to shoot a group checking accuracy. I was just shooting some cheap ammo, nothing special, warming up to the gun before I tried to shoot a tight group with a high recoil rifle that I haven't been able to fire in 5 months. So my first initial attempt at shooting it, when I got it back, it shot the first 2 rounds. I was a bit surprised because I found some issues with this bolt right away when I received it. But I was a little excited that it did actually fire, and I thought I'd give it a try and shoot a group. Well, my 4th round in on warm-up yesterday, and it failed to fire. Got just a little dent in the primer. It wasn't enough to set it off. So something I noticed with this rifle, or this bolt assembly, it appears as though they increased the bore diameter where the firing pin goes through. And also, I don't think it'll ever show on camera, but the firing pin bore is not concentric with the hole in the face that the firing pin must protrude through. So depending on how you try to push it through, like that right there is not protruding all the way, but if we push on it harder, then we can get that to pop through the rest of the way. When you look in the back here, obviously the firing pin is not anywhere close to the center of the hole, but that's where it's stuck because it's wedged in there. It can't really move about unless you force it. And you can't force it all the way to the other side for obvious reasons here. So it's unknown how much of this bolt is really unconcentric. It's off center and don't know how many places. So we'll grab the original bolt. Now this bolt, the firing pin had no problem sliding in, moving back and forth. Doesn't get stuck, always moved around fine. It's actually pretty snug in the bore. Desert Tech's solution was to shorten the bolt between the face here and where the firing pin and striker connect here by simply machining 14 thousandths off the back of the bolt face here. Not really any math behind it. They just took it under spec and threw it out the door and said, here you go, try it. Of course, in the process, somehow they managed to wreck the locking lugs on it. And originally, when this problem all started and they asked for some measurements of everything, I went ahead and measured the length of the bolt body and the firing pin and multiple other things, and yeah, look at that. This bolt head rocks back and forth a little bit, but seems to be pretty square within that bolt body. So at one point, one of the guys said, well, your bolt body cross pin must be under spec, so we'll send you a new one of those. They sent out a new one. I went ahead and grabbed my handy old micrometer, and well, the new one's the exact same dimension as the old one. Sent out an email. They said, well, then we're going to recall your bolt at this point. And before they had really said anything, I had already noticed this nice little cross pin here that holds everything together. So when it's in the rifle, locked up, it sits about right here. And this pin is held in place by the firing pin. So if you put pressure on that, which gravity does naturally, you can lock that firing pin right in place and hold it up. I got to thinking about that, thinking, well, it's a free-floating firing pin. It uses its own weight plus whatever the striker hits it with as momentum to set off your primer. So did a little diagnostic myself before they actually asked to recall the bolt body assembly. I took a little piece of brass and I put it in on here. Put that in there. And I had to give it a little bit of a tap with a little rubber mallet because the brass is holding that bolt body cross pin in there really tight. By doing that, the rifle shot every round that I put in it without failure up until the point that the brass was compressed under recoil and became loose. Well, it fell out and the bolt body cross pin put its weight back on the firing pin. The one person that I gave this information to said, nope, it can't be that. It's not an engineering issue. There's nothing wrong with the rifle. But they also seem to fail to be able to figure out what's wrong with it and make this rifle fire when you pull the trigger. So, not sure what they're going to do about this. What they can do, what they're willing to do, is two different things. Simple solution would be to change the direction of this pin so that it goes in from the top and rests its weight on the bolt body and doesn't exert any weight onto the firing pin. Seems like a really easy solution from an engineering standpoint. You're changing a couple of numbers in a CNC program. Seems like the cheapest, easiest way to take care of the issue. They don't seem to be interested in doing anything about it, though. They don't answer phone calls. They don't respond to emails. They recalled nothing more than the bolt body, and they held on to it for 5 months and didn't do anything to fix the issue. They machined their own bolt out of their own specs just so they could say they did something and shipped it back. It really doesn't seem like good customer service. They're very unresponsive to any way you try to contact them. Doesn't matter if it's through the website, direct email to the warranty manager, phone calls, doesn't matter. They don't respond. They don't care about customers that have warranty issues. They're only concerned about selling new rifles. So I'm really curious to see what they do with this in the future. Should they ever contact me and actually fix the issue, I'll make another video explaining what they've done to fix it and how well it is fixed, but right now hopes are not high. It looks like I have about a $7,000 paperweight.